We like came in, you had red eyes, and you were drinking vinegar, and I was like, how you doing? You're like, good, why? I'm like, so many questions.
Yeah, I know. Apple cider vinegar, yo, Aya and Logan Vaughn, they put me onto that shit.
Yeah,
that shit's so good though.
I did it, and I wanted to die.
Yo! No, that is apple cider vinegar slander. It's really good.
He's in the cult, yo.
Yo, I'm fully evangelical now. Fully reformed. Born again apple cider vinegar.
Welcome to Regarding. Happy December, everybody.
It's so cold out, but it's pretty warm in here.
It's so nice in here. Oh yeah, feel the fire of theater. It's lit.
And before we begin, please like and subscribe, okay?
It keeps the lights on, and you know you want to see this.
Just do it, okay? It helps us a lot. We are Regarding. We're two POC.
Recommending theater in NYC.
My name is Ray Yamanochi. I'm a playwright.
My name is Maria Paz Alegre. I'm an artist and a theater critic.
And this month we're gonna do a top 3 best shows of the year, and then also, you know, recommend something
what we're looking
for the
forward
upcoming
to.
year. So yeah, absolutely. And our guest is the wonderful Raja Feather Kelly, choreographer and director.
Hashtag fangirl, hashtag not ashamed, and I feel like Raja is like the theme of the year because it's just everything that Raja has done has been so lit, so I'm so excited for this.
You know, it's been a great year.
It's
been a wild one.
It's been an amazing year for theater. I feel very lucky. I feel very blessed like that we get to be in New York at this time.
That's true.
Like,
Top 3 best shows of the year, starting with number 3.
Our Dear Dead Drug Lord by Alexis Shear, produced at the WP Theater. This show was so good. It was just these young women who are about to go to college and just not wanting to be diminished and just kind of wanting to evoke power and not have something taken away from them, and then just the amazing things that comes out of it was enchanting to watch. And you know, I'm not the only one that feel this way. It just got extended to January, September, October, November, December, January. So go see this show.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. All right, WP Theater out here.
Number 3.
Dr. Ride's American Beach House.
Woo!
By Liza Merkenmeyer and directed by Katie Brooks.
Costume design by Melissa.
Yeah, go check that interview. Yo, I really love this play. It was a beautiful, beautiful portrait of 4 women exploring their repressed queer identity while also carrying the burden of their gender in 1980s America. And then it's like, the backdrop of it is Dr. Sally Ride's space launch, and the juxtaposition of that and the blending of the two and the sort of like queer liberation that's attached to it in this very, very graceful way is really, really a beautiful production. Yeah, and that's number 3 of the year's best.
Woo!
Number 2!
Slave Play by Jeremy O. Harris.
Whoa.
And because it's of the year, I'm hearkening back to when we saw it for the 2018-2019.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2019 when I saw it, and oh my God, like I could not stop thinking about this play. I could not stop talking about this play. And when I found out the play went to Broadway, it sounded right. Everything about it. I only found out recently that I'm not the only one that feels this way. The cast and crew do talkbacks once a week to unpack it at like a coffee shop or something.
Oh.
So yeah, it's extended, I believe. I think it's still going on Broadway for the foreseeable future, so check it out.
It's got a lot of people talking. It's certainly a really provocative piece, really, really engaging, and it's just definitely the talk of the town, and I definitely suggest everyone go see it. It's fucking intense.
Number 2!
A Strange Loop!
Yes!
Written, the book, music, lyrics all by Michael R. Jackson, directed by Stephen Brackett, and choreography by the one and only Raja Feather Kelly. Produced at Playwrights Horizons. what do I gotta say? This is like one of the most original musicals I've ever seen in my life. It's irreverently hysterical, it's brutally honest, it's socially probing, and it's just super personal and vulnerable, and it's just really cathartic, but also makes you really engage and sort of like, you know, makes you think a little bit. Fucking awesome. I mean, obviously one of the year's best, but one of the best musicals I've ever seen, so.
Ooh, high praise.
Best show of the year 2019.
A Strange Loop
Woo!
by Michael R. Jackson. I have to agree with Ray, except it was my #1 show.
It's
like
so
it
good.
was I saw it twice. I saw it twice. I
Yeah.
was so moved by it.
Yeah.
And it was, what was amazing about it was how specific it was, and how he didn't shy away from anything. Like everything was just bare bones laid out there. And you know, like I can't necessarily relate to an overweight to obese homosexual African American descendant of like all of the cis male, probably about like all of that.
Right.
I cannot necessarily relate to all of that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because with the specificity, you know what it is to be rejected. You know what it is to be discriminated against. You know what it is to want something and have everybody slam their door in your face. Like you got family, you got religion, and just all of that together in this explosive, personal, brilliant show. If this doesn't go to Broadway, something is wrong with theater. It should be seen by the masses. It was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, all the music too is super infectious. Choreography, obviously brilliant. It was fucking amazing.
Everything was just like, it was better the second time too. Keep going. They just kept getting better. #1, best show of the year.
Continuity
Woo!
by Best Role, directed by Rachel Chavkin at MTC. Yo, I feel like this show did not get enough love. Honestly, I walked out of this show just fucking floored. And people, I don't know what happened. People just didn't like get around to it. I don't know what happened. Anyway, the show is like a poison pill. You take it, you don't know what hits you until it's too late. And I feel like the whole play was like an onion, and there's just layers upon layers upon layers. And the way it dissects climate change in this very ridiculous, absurd comedy is so fucking, it was incredible. And the meta theatricality of this play is just so intense. I mean, I think that at one point the ushers or in the playbill says something that the play itself is trying to be super green or it's like sustainable or something, but if you watch the play to the end, you realize that it's sort of meaningless, like all of it, everything about it, because like climate change is just such an overwhelming problem. I walked out. It's like honestly the most terrifying comedies I've ever seen. I was sort of jealous. I was just floored at the level of playwriting that was going on, and even Rachel Chavkin directing. Like it, you know, the brilliance about it is all the problems were there to begin with, and we see it happen, and we don't really know of it, you know, that it's that bad until the end of the play. Kind of like the situation we're in now, and it's just like the most perfect representation of climate change I've ever seen. I think even scientists couldn't do it as good as this play does. You know, it's just absolutely brilliant. Fucking genius work. Yeah. Also, shout outs, honorable mentions, you know, shout out to Lunch Bunch at Club Thumb, written by Sarah Einspanier. And shout out to Is This a Room, written by, conceived and directed by Tina Satter. You know, those two plays were really, really phenomenal. Lunch Bunch is actually being produced in February 2020 by Play Company. So if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, you can see it. It's an amazing show. And Is This a Room, I think just recently closed, but hopefully it gets remounted because that one's wonderful.
I'm also gonna honorable mention Ain't No More by Jordan E. Cooper, which was produced at the Public Theater. Another just brilliant show, and just, you know, this one wasn't particularly woman on the verge, but just like, ooh, POC on the verge. Like what it feels like to be in this time, in this country, and a person of color. Like it was, specifically a black person, like it was just so real.
a show that we're really looking forward to in 2020. Maria, do you have anything?
I would like to mention too. I'm really looking forward to Selling Cobble by Sylvia Corey at Playwrights Horizons in March. She did Power Strip, which I loved, and what she does is she just brings so much visibility, but also she just does it so well in bringing story to it. This is going to be about translators in Afghanistan. Number 2 is Sanctuary City by Martina Mayuk, produced by New York Theater Workshop. It's going to be about dreamers and what it is to be in this country. So you might be sensing a theme with me about what interests me, but I'm really looking forward to that too.
She's a Pulitzer winner, so you know she's gonna be lit.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to Lauren E's Cambodian rock band.
Yes.
I don't even know really exactly what it's about, but it's I'm super pumped about it. It's about a Cambodian rock band, I'm assuming.
I'm a Lauren E fan. I'm a big Lauren E fan. I've loved what she's done.
I mean, okay, honestly what it is I've heard that this is like one of her most iconic plays.
Yes.
Yeah, and I haven't seen this play yet, and it's done like the whole regional tour, and it's finally coming to New York, so that's like a huge, I just heard so much about it.
Same.
Yeah, and I'm just really excited to see this production.
Dancing into our studio and into our hearts, we are proud to welcome Raja Feather Kelly. Woo!
Welcome.
Thank you.
So Raja, welcome to our show.
Thanks for having
Thank you so much
me.
for coming.
Good to have you.
I feel honored.
So you have been blowing up this past year. You've been working on The Death of the Last Black Man in the Whole Entire World, Fairview, and my personal favorite, A Strange Loop. So in February next year, you're going to be directing Young Jean Lee's We're Gonna Die at Second Stage. So how do you have like this amount of bangers in such a short amount of time?
I don't know. I'm not the one who gets to decide that they're bangers. So I just take on the projects with the people who I think are fun to take on projects with, and you get to decide what's a banger.
You got that juju. You got that juju.
I've got that juju?
Yeah, you got that juju.
You do. That juju that you do. Putting that out there.
But
You choose to sign on, so you're also able to see, what you can accomplish.
Yeah, what when you see something like that, like what gives you the okay?
I guess it's a little bit of impulse. I mean, I don't think that I'm thinking, is this going to be a hit or is this going to be awesome? I think I'm wondering if it's going to be an interesting project to work on. I'm wondering who are my collaborators are going to be, what their interest is. Do I really have something to offer the project? Is that somehow answering questions that I have or want to ask myself? I think those are the things that I think about when I'm engaging with a project.
I know We're Gonna Die is in February, but could you talk a little bit about that project?
Yeah, so Young Jean Lee has offered me this opportunity to reimagine this show, We're Gonna Die, which she had performed herself in 2011. Fact-checked that.
Okay.
And yeah, so she had an opportunity to present something at Second Stage and wanted to do this show. And as you've said, she wants to do things that make her uncomfortable. And so her idea was, what if I gave over this show to you to completely have your vision and for you to reimagine it in the way that you would, what would the show be? And that's what this project is.
Right, because she usually produces under her own theater company.
Correct? Yeah. And she's a wonderful director in her own right. So she could do it.
Right.
But even when the show was made, my understanding is the premise was that these stories could be told by anyone. I think many people think that the stories are her stories and that when she performed it that they had all happened to her, but really, it's a collection of stories that she has accumulated over time from interviews and from people that she has worked with. And so in a way, it's like a play like any other play where the person who is directing and performing the play brings it to life, and that's what I'll do. I'm thinking, my thought is like, what if I had come across We're Gonna Die in like an old bookstore, and I was like, oh, this is the play that I'm interested in doing. I like thinking about death, and then I opened it and was like, I'm gonna put on this production. That's essentially how I'm thinking about it, and then I'm reimagining it under my own, the things that I think about and the things that inspire me and what my aesthetic is, and how I want to contribute to what art making is.
You brought up your own dance company.
Yep.
Could you
Dance
explain?
theater company.
Dance theater company.
Dance theater and
right,
media.
Right.
That's what the 3 is.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask you about. Can you please explain what the Feather Theory is?
So the Feather Theory was actually this novel that I wrote. So my middle name is Feather.
Oh.
It's actually Feather, Raja Feather Kelly. And in November of 2008, when I was studying abroad in Australia, I had gotten food poisoning, and I needed to turn in a certain number of pages for my English major. I was an English major, and I competed in NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing Month, which happens every November.
Oh.
And so I attempted to write this novel called The Feather Theory, which was my manifesto at the time.
Okay.
Look,
right.
just like,
It was college.
Yeah.
it's like
That was
you
the
go
time.
to go to college. Like I am of an age where, I didn't have a cell phone or a computer until I got to college. And so I think like maybe one of the first movies I saw in college was like Waking Life. Like I just got like really like philosophical there, and I was like, I gotta write a manifesto.
So obsessive.
And I wrote The Feather Theory, which was this analogy to human life and human relationship to feathers. And so, this is so stupid, but also kind of meaningful to me, and has become my life's work. But so feathers like come together and they separate. They come together and they separate. And I was like, that is what humans do. Like, how do we come together and why do we fall apart? Like that. Like with that question alone, you could really have an endless experience in a creative process of understanding how do these two people come together, what makes them fall apart, how do these two people come together, what makes them fall apart, how these two people come together and they stay together, how do these two people like never meet, how do these people come together and separate and come together and separate and come together and separate like feathers. So I wrote that.
Oh, that's so compelling. I mean, that's a crux of so much drama.
Exactly. I mean, I am a child of melodrama, that is for sure. So that became something that I was really interested in, and then I've always been attracted to not just making dance movement, but theatricalizing the body and using multimedia always. And so that 3 was to kind of symbolize the pillars of what makes the devised work that I make, which is dance, theater, and media. So the Feather Theory, how people come together, why they fall apart.
In addition to being a choreographer, I feel like we've talked about choreography so much, but you're also a director.
I am a director.
A theater director.
Yeah.
How do you typically approach new work?
I approach new work like devised theater.
So you really are.
I am
a
so
hardened
downtown. I'm a postmodernist. I'm downtown, devised. I mean that.
I think that I know why Young Jin Lee was like, yeah.
It's all coming together. We're just an understanding.
Yeah, I believe that is the best approach, because in some way you know a lot of what it isn't, but you don't know exactly what it is yet. In new work, you're able to have a focus that is that where nothing is precious, but everything is precious. I feel like these are all devised theater sensibilities. Or like, we're going to discover it in the room.
Right.
We are going to experiment. We're going to let things be precious and then let things fall apart.
Right.
It's going to be one thing one day, and tomorrow it's going to be another thing. So that is how I approach. That's my approach to new work. And dramaturgy, which for me means storytelling, which can be very abstract or it can be very traditional, but understanding how do I say, like, dramaturgy, I think, is like the pedagogy of watching theater, right? Where you're teaching people how to watch it while it's happening. And so dramaturgy for me is taking care of that pedagogy in the work itself, where you're like, well, you set these things up, so you have to follow through because that's how you have shown people what's important, what's not important.
I feel like that is like the most real shit ever.
If you're approaching theater in that way, I think I think my criticism is that sometimes we're not paying enough attention to story.
Yeah, I want to be your hype man right now. We're like,
I'll take a hype man.
Yeah. I already know the rest of my questions. I don't even need my questions. But yes, that's really fascinating.
That's how I approach. That's how you have to approach devised theater, right? Because you're like, we're making this as we go, so we have to pay attention to what we've done in order to do the next thing. Or once we do something, if it changes what we've set up, then we have to go back and edit.
Yeah, to understand the whole world of where you are.
Exactly. So that's what I do.
This is a recommendation show. Would you like to recommend anything and everything you would like?
See every show that I make and then I am a part of. I don't know. Actually, I actually think that it's important to see everything. I try to see as much as I can, which is very difficult, but I love trashing shows as much as I love praising shows because everyone's doing the best they can. So you're just like, that was awful, and I would never make that. And maybe someone says it about my work, and that's totally fine. We're all in dialogue with each other. So see as much as you can and learn what's important to you, learn what your aesthetic is, learn what calls your attention and
also what doesn't.
And also what doesn't, and be able to practice and know what that is.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
So good to have you. That's our show. Thank you, Raja Feather Kelly. He's like the most amazing person I've met in real life, truly.
His show, We're Gonna Die, by Young Jin Lee, is going up in February. I know this interview's a little early, but it's gonna be great. And there's an extended interview, so make sure you check that out. Link is over here. Put that in your address bar.
It's good. It's worth watching the whole thing. That was a heck of an interview. Also, like and subscribe.
Please!
It helps bring us wonderful guests like Raja Feather Kelly and others.
And others that you should just stay tuned for. Thank you for another great year.
Yeah, it's the end of the year, so.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, I'm guess sentimental. I texted Ray over the holidays, and you're right what you're thankful for. And honestly, I'm thankful for this. I think it's been great. Thank you for even bringing this idea to me. I'm so glad that we put this together, and
thank you, Maria.
It's one of the biggest pleasures of my life is working on this show.
Yes, this is like my baby, and I'm so glad Maria's a part of it. We get to create this thing each month, and. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a lot of work.
It's so much work.
Okay? It's a lot of work.
Oh God.
So all you gotta do is just hit that like button, okay? It's not that hard.
It helps us out.
See you in the new year.